Hope everybody's having a good one and enjoying this little bit of nice weather we have here. Looks like it might change on us a little bit this afternoon. So uh, I'm here today from the Oneida County Sheriff's Office. I booted the sheriff out of the conference room, so it's ours for the rest of the day. Hope, again, everybody's having a great day. We're here to talk about scams. Scams are really important, a really big deal, not just now during COVID-19, but in general. We're going to talk about some of the scams that are going on just normally, and then we may get into some of the more specific COVID-19 scams towards the end. There's one scam. I'm going to start with it now, just talk about it briefly, and then when we get in, we'll talk about it a little more. It's called the grandparent scam. This is something that I talk about at almost every event I go to. It happened here. This is a printout from WKTV's website that talks about the grandparent scam and how somebody in Ilion got scammed. Okay, so we'll talk about the scam itself in a few minutes, but I just want you to know that these are all very real and they happen, and that's just one explanation, one chance, one time, but we talk about them and I tell you that these happen. I promise they happen. And then sometimes people, I don't know if they realize that it's happening in little old Oneida County. Okay, happens. Let's try to do what we can to protect ourselves. So why are seniors targeted more specifically? Well, seniors are known to many as having a little bit of an extra disposable income. And sometimes people think that they can get something over on a senior, technology based, because the senior may not necessarily understand the technology that's being put out to them, whether it be through the phone or the email. And that's nothing against a person for not knowing it. I'm just as bad as other people. You could hand me a different phone. I use an Apple phone. You can hand me an Android phone. I have no idea how to use it. I couldn't do anything on it. So it's no different than me saying, I've got this email that I sent to you and it looks official from AT&T or Verizon or whoever, that you could be very easily confused. It happens. Believe me, it happens. So we need to do what we can to take the steps to not have that happen. And why financial scams? Why are they going for those for the most part, not your home or property? Well, because financial scams are considered low risk to the scammers. I could make 1,000 phone calls today asking for you to donate money to me. And at the end of the day, if I only get 4 or 5 of you to send me any money, I'm still very far ahead, right? Because I'm sitting at my computer or at a phone and just dialing out. And if I can get you to send me $50, $100, and I can get 3 or 4 people to do that, now I've made $400 or $500 today. That's a really good day's work, right? And it only took me an hour and a couple of phone calls. And if I got really lucky, maybe I got your social security number, maybe I got your bank account and I can drain that, So you might think, all right, well, they got me once, but not only are they getting you, they're getting 4, 5, 6, hundreds of other people with the exact same things. So you may not find this necessary to know right now, maybe 2 years down the line. Maybe you bump into somebody that's having the same problem and you could share this information with them. Let's remember too, it's not just the people with money or assumed to have money that are targeted. A lot of times this is based off of Medicaid, Medicare fraud. 90% of all elder abuse claims are usually done through a family member. So it's not necessarily somebody you don't know that's giving you these problems. A lot of times it's somebody you do know. And these scams can be run through family members too, which is something important to remember. So let's start off with one of the top scams, which is Medicaid and health insurance. So everybody here is eligible. Well, not everybody, but the large group of people here are eligible for Medicare or Medicaid. And, we all have health insurance, I hope. Why is that such a positive scam? Because, well, anybody 65 or older qualifies for Medicare, right? So it's very easy for me to call somebody who I know is over the age of 65 and say, hi, I'm calling for Medicare and I have an issue with your account. Well, I don't need to know any more than that because I know you're over 65. So you're already drawn in and you say, oh my gosh, there's a problem with my account. And then I ask you questions and these guys are smart. Don't get me wrong, these guys are not dumb. They're very intelligent, and that's some of the problem is they know the questions to ask and they have spent the time. So you're sitting there and they're trying to get you to make a rush decision, which is something you're going to hear me say over and over again. Don't make a rush decision. Always ask questions. Always try to find out more about what's going on before you give them any sort of information. But it happens time and time again. So Medicare is very easy. Health insurance is very easy because they'll just say, I'm calling from your healthcare company. I'm calling from Medicare. And you don't know because everybody's got the health insurance. Everybody's got Medicare. They'll provide an opportunity for a service that doesn't exist. Maybe a mobile clinic they'll tell you is going to be around. And this is where COVID-19 comes in. And we'll cover it more towards the end. But we're having a mobile test clinic. Well, no, you're not. The only ones that are happening are the government regulated ones. But I call you and say, I'm from Medicare, come to my clinic. Maybe it's not that they're trying to get your information. Maybe they're trying to kidnap someone and then use you as a way to gain money from your family. Who knows? There's any number of reasons and any number of problems that could occur. You just need to slow down and think. Why are they calling me to tell me this? Was it on the news? Have I heard something like this before? If you're personally not sure, get a number to call them back, their name, everything. Anything you would think that you would need to contact this person back. Ask a friend. Ask somebody else, somebody you know, a trusted person in your life. Believe me, you'd be surprised. What might sound good to you right now over the phone or just in general, 20 minutes down the line, boy, that's not really adding up because it's the pressure that they place on you when you're on the phone. You need to make that snap decision. The snap decision I want you to make is to take your time. I want you to be like, wait a minute, I don't know. And then just start asking questions, take notes, write things down, okay? Again, that's just one type. How about with counterfeit prescription drugs? I bet you everybody in this, I usually say this room, sorry, I'm used to doing this in a little different setup. Everyone in this room probably takes some sort of medication, myself included. And I'm sure if I had everyone raise a hand that takes it, who agrees that they're overpriced? I bet you just about every hand would stay up in the air, right? So if you get an email, a phone call from someone that's trying to offer you medication at a benefit, a cheaper price, more for your money, however you want to put it, boy, they've got your interest, right? But we need to be really careful with that because, again, just like with the Medicaid, Medicare, health insurance scam, they're just going to call and say, hi, I'm from this company. I know you take prescription medication and I know you pay too much. They don't need to know anything about you to get you on the phone and interested, right? Because, yeah, I pay way too much for my medication. Well, so do I. So what is our next step there? How do we know that this is good? Or how do we know if this is a scam? Or what do we do? Well, I'd call my doctor, right? Because you need a prescription for anything. Maybe this place says you don't need a prescription. You just need to tell me what you take. Giant red flag should be going off in your head. If somebody was to call you like that, and again, I can't give you the best advice on everything. I can only give you what I would think would be the best way to handle yourself. First thing I would do is call my doctor. Doc, hey, I got a call from, the Parkway Center Medication Company, and they want to offer me discount medication. What do you think? Well, he's probably going to tell you, I've never heard of that place, or that doesn't exist, or you really shouldn't be buying discount medication. And again, I understand that, everybody's got a limitation, but really got to do your research on this kind of stuff. Since 2000, the FDA has investigated an average of 20 cases a year into these fake companies with the medication. In the 1990s, it was five companies a year they'd investigate on fake medication. Since 2000's hit, it's been 20 companies a year. Might not seem like a lot, but remember, if you, I, and 4 or 5 of our friends are sitting in the same room making those phone calls 24 hours a day, because why not? And I can get every person I get on the phone, or average $100 a person. How many phone calls do you think I can make in a day? 20, 30, 40, 50, 100? And you get one of those fake number generators and you can never call me back. It happens. Believe me, it happens. And we need to just try to find a way to avoid it. What's our best thing to do? Slow down, take notes, call people you trust. And you got to work your way through it, because believe me, these guys are going to make it sound good. They are going to make it sound good. I know. They call me all the time. And they're not always the ones that you can pick up because they've got a foreign accent. Okay, those are the easy one. I'm a prince from another country. I'm going to mail you millions. Again, we've all heard of that, but they do it because they get people, right? If they weren't getting anyone anymore, do you think they'd still do it? Someone's falling for these. You and I think that they're simple and easy to pick up, but somebody's still falling for them. So every day they're coming up with something new, something harder. So we got to take our time. We got to make sure we know what we're doing. Here's one, again, that's targeted mainly for seniors: funeral and cemetery scams. You know, these places call you, you know, we will get you taken care of. We will get you set up. Why are they calling you? For one, maybe did someone actually pass away? Did they read your an obituary in the paper? That's how these things get found, and that's how they know so much about you. Maybe you do social media, okay? So now all of a sudden I've got an obituary, I've got a social media account, and I can go through and I can find out more about you than you could ever care to know, right? And now I call you up, and all of a sudden I seem like a good guy because I somehow knew your loved one that passed away. I knew things about him, and it looks like I did all my homework to get it set up for you, right? No, this is just another way of somebody trying to steal your money. Again, I'm not in the position, thankfully, where I have a loved one that's sick or a loved one that I think may pass away soon. Pre-planning here could be very important. And again, I don't work for any of these people. If you can pre-plan something, obviously it's one way to help save your loved one from someone trying to scam them. Another thing, and it's not happening now, and some of you may remember in the late 90s, they were putting on a tombstone, they would put, you know, the year you were born and then 19 with the two blanks. Well, then the year 2000 hit, and what are we going to do? And these guys weren't around anymore to fix them. Okay, that's just something really small and easy that, oh, we're just going to charge you to put the 19 in there for now. Well, now it's 2000. Everybody's still with us. Well, now what do? We got to figure it out. We call the company. The company doesn't exist anymore. So they try to take advantage of you at that point, especially if someone's passed away, while you're in your worst moment, while you're grieving, okay? And they're just trying to think it'd be very, very easy to get something from you. You got to be careful to funeral homes too. And you would think that, again, if you pre-plan this and you talked in advance and people know what each other wants, it would be better. You'd be better off. But some of these places can try to take advantage of you. You walk in the door. Well, this is an extra cost. That's an extra cost. Okay. It may not seem like a scam because you're getting something for it, but someone's trying to take advantage of you. So I know it's a little different than a scam, but it's something that people need to be aware of. How about anti-aging products? I'm sure everyone here wants to look younger, myself included. Do you see this hairline? Do you see that? Like, forehead, 5 head, it's all there. I get it. I want to look younger. I see these commercials for hair products and I want them. Okay. But we can't because they're no good. They're not real. They're just a way to try to get your money and get things quick. 60 is the new 40, right? They say that Americans are trying to seek medications and things to make them more youthful, whether it's Botox or the one, that's being distributed to your home. The people that went to jail over that. Do you know that $1.5 million a year goes to bogus, health aids and skin creams and things like that? Anti-aging business is big money, right? So if I come to you with this new cream, right? It's hand sanitizer, but I'm going to tell you it's going to make your face look younger. It's going to take the wrinkles away. It's going to make your hair grow back. I guarantee I could sell cases upon cases of those. I just pop up somewhere, right? Say I go to the local senior center, I go to the local Walmart or Target or wherever, and I put myself up on the parking lot. got this new anti-aging cream, hasn't even hit the market yet. You guys are going to be the first to do it. I'd sell out of those in 10 minutes. Why? Well, everybody wants to look younger. Everybody wants to feel better. I want to grow more hair. So it's easy. People will do that. But you got to think, why is this guy not selling them in a big business, making millions and millions of dollars? Why is he sitting on the corner trying to make $5 for me? Because he can, because he filled this with water. It's just water in there, you know? It's nothing. It's not going to do anything to help you. So Botox was a big one. They got into that more specifically. Again, it's just people trying to get something from you, and it doesn't do it. It doesn't work. How about telemarketers? We talked a little bit about the ones from the foreign countries that say they're from the IRS. Boy, we all know that's not true, right? So the most common scheme is they call to prey on older people who make up twice as many purchases over the phone than the national average. Well, why is that? Well, some people don't get around as well anymore, so it's easier to buy or purchase things over the phone, right? I know I pay a lot of my bills over the phone just because it's easier and you don't have to buy a stamp because those things keep going up. You know, so why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you try to find something to make it easier? So without face-to-face interaction, no paper trail, things like that, it's incredibly hard to trace when they do it over the phone. But again, they may not even be trying to get anything from you specifically. They may just be trying to get a little bit of information from you. So there's one that they call the pigeon drop, and I'm going to have to read this one because this is the first I'd ever heard of it. But like I say, I went in to do some research for this, and I'm learning new things, which is great because unfortunately with COVID, I've been stuck in the office a little more, and I'm not getting out and talking to people. I'm not hearing what you guys are experiencing. So that makes it a little more difficult for me to learn new things. So this was good. It got me into some new sections in the scam stuff and trying to look up things and just to get you the best information possible. So somebody's going to call you on the phone. They're going to tell you they know you. And what they're going to say is, I just came into all this money. And you're going to say, wow, that's pretty great. Good for you. Well, it's more than I need. I'm going to share it with you, but you got to help me out a little bit. You got to show me a little bit of good faith on this. I need you to send me something. Say it's $1,000. And once I see that you sent that $1,000, and I'm going to need your bank account routing information, I will send you back that $10,000. And actually, I'll make it 11, so you get your $1,000 back, because I just want to make sure that I know that I have the right information and that money is going to pass through. I'd never heard of this, but guess what? The more I researched it, it happens a lot, and people are falling for this. And sometimes they go as far as having a banker call you also, or a lawyer. Now all of a sudden you're getting a second phone call. Hi, I just heard you talk to Mr. Morgan about that money, and I'm actually his lawyer, and I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up, and you're going to be able to do that, so he can send you over that $11,000 he promised, which is the $10,000 plus the $1,000 you gave him. Boy, now his lawyer's calling me, and this is my day. But what they're doing is they're getting a free $1,000 from you and your bank information. You know what else they're doing? They're chatting with you while they're there. And I bet you they ask you questions pertaining to, say, maiden name, street address. Hey, you know, I think we used to live near each other when we were kids. Where was that? It was in what town? Geez, what was the name of that street again? And they're just buttering you up, you know, to try to get that little bit of information. And maybe that's one of your secret password questions. I don't know how many social media users we have here, but if you're ever on Facebook, you'll see once in a while, they'll come up with like these challenge questions asking you to answer all these random things. Well, guess what those random questions are? Really similar to the secret questions on like all your sites and accounts. We see it all the time, and we try to tell people. Again, I don't know how many users we have here on, like, say, Facebook, Instagram, things like that, but if you see those like questions and answers, don't do those. Those are terrible. How about the fake accident? Every one of us here probably drives or has driven at some point in their life. So you're sitting at a stoplight, right? There's a car in front of you, and all of a sudden you get hit from the front, but there was never any lights on. Or you get hit from behind, and then all of a sudden they say that they're hurt, and it's because you ran into the guy in front of you, and then you never hit your brakes and they hit you. why would they do this, and how would it happen? Well, what it takes is they get two vehicles together, okay? So they get one here and one here, and you're in the middle, right? So a lot of times this car in the front, it won't have any reverse lights. So they get to the stoplight, he puts the car in reverse, backs into you. Now that guy behind you runs into you, and he says that you ran into the guy in front of you and he couldn't stop. And we're not going to report it to police, but my neck does hurt. But if you could give us some cash right now, we would probably let this go. I'm not the car. I'm not worried about my neck. I'm sure it'll feel better, But geez, I'm going to need at least about $3,000-4,000. And what'll happen is you'll say, well, I don't have that kind of money. What do we do? And then maybe you say, all right, well, I've got 200. You know what? That's good enough. And they take the money and leave. Happens all the time. You'd think, really, around here? It happens around here. Charity scams, okay? This time, right now, COVID-19, you're probably getting calls. Oh, so-and-so, this person, this place, this region, they need help right now. You need to send money. We need it for these charities. They're just dying. These businesses, they can't be open. They can't have the fundraisers. And they're going to do everything they can. But guess what? They don't exist, or they're just telling you they're from there. I can't tell you how many times people say, I got a call from the Red Cross, so I sent them money. You sure it was the Red Cross? I can't tell you how many of these times I've gone to senior centers and different places and schools and give talks. And I say, the sheriff's office will never call you and ask you for money. And I got into a full-on battle with one person because they said, well, I sent to your agency last week. They called and asked. I said, no, we didn't. Well, absolutely you did. I sent you money. You sent somebody money, but you didn't send the sheriff's office money because we don't call and ask for it. Okay, so if anybody calls from police agencies and says, we need money, you should really take a long, hard look at that and think about it, because chances are that's not what's happening. Internet fraud, that's really popular. Emails, you're going to get an email that says, it's from Amazon. I get them all the time. In the world we live in right now, Amazon, who doesn't get something from there at least once in a while? So I'll get a letter and it'll say, Amazon needs you to update your account. Okay. Seems somewhat reasonable. You're looking at the email and okay, it looks like Amazon. The letterhead looks right. The photos look right. You get all the way down to the bottom and you'll see that it'll say something like, to not receive these messages anymore, click this link. There's your tip. That just on that one case, it's just some third-party company that's trying to get you to click their link. And maybe it's got nothing to do with your information they're taking. Maybe they're not going to ask you for your Amazon information or anything like that. But maybe when you click that link, it takes you to some place that you can't get back out of. And it says, we've put malware or inserted this into your computer hard drive. Just be really careful. Just like we have to have patience on the phone and not make quick decisions, we need to be careful what we click when we're using the computer, okay? And again, this is where a lot of times these guys and girls that do these scams, they're trying to prey on the older generation because you didn't use the computers and the tablets when you were younger to be more used to them now. So we just need to be really careful. Let's see what else here. Unfamiliar with the firewalls and they'll say your hang on, struggling for the word here. Your internet safety is not up to date, or your web browser is not up to date. You need to update it right now. You just need to be careful with those things because sometimes that's a third-party company. That's not necessarily your computer. If you go into something and your main computer says you need an update, that's great. Though that's where you can probably trust that pretty easily. But if you're on a website, say Facebook or WKTV or anything along those lines, and then all of a sudden it says you need an update, you might really want to be careful. There's a really good chance there that that's another company trying to steal your information. So again, similar to the Amazon thing, you're going to get emails and different things from companies. They're called phishing scams, where they're going to say you need to update or verify your information with us. And sometimes you'll even get something like that from a doctor's office. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. They want you to click and to verify your information. They're gaining all of your information, right? So you click on, you put your email, your address, your date of birth, last four of your social, mother's maiden name, and all of a sudden they have every little bit of information they could ever want to go open an account for you, right? Something to be aware of. Investment schemes. How many times has anybody here gotten something that says zero risk investment? If you keep getting them and you don't want it, send them to me. Send them to this guy. I'd love a zero risk investment these days. But they don't exist. They do not exist. You can't get a zero risk investment. It just can't happen. So every time you see those, just be really wary. And if somebody's like sending you an email saying you need to invest in this company, again, what do you know about these people? What do you know about that company? Probably nothing. So why are you sending them money immediately? They're going to tell you, you got to get it now. You got to get it on the ground floor. This is the time. This is where you're going to make the most. Well, you know what? I'd rather make a lot less or keep what I have versus losing everything. So again, split decisions. They want you to make these quick thought decisions, and we need to all be very careful. And like I say, is there a chance that it could be real and you might miss out on it? Yep. But I'd rather miss out on one than get taken for 10. Reverse mortgages or homeowner scams. Those are super popular right now because they know people are hard up for money, right? So why wouldn't I call you and ask you about doing a reverse mortgage? $5,000 to sign up. Get you. I'll get Joanne here in on a reverse mortgage for $5,000. I'll get you started. And Joanne thinks that sounds like a great deal. I've seen other things that say 10. Well, I don't have enough information to say yes, I can or cannot get you that information as far as your $5,000 reverse mortgage. I don't know. So to get that reverse mortgage, you would send it to me. You would send me the $5,000, and then I'd disappear forever. And that's just what they want. Anything I can do to get somebody in quickly and to take advantage of you. So you got to be really careful with that. We just had one recently with NBT Bank, First Source. I forget which bank exactly it was, where they were getting calls out. Their customers were getting calls out saying that there were issues with their accounts. Well, the bank, somebody called the bank. Thankfully, somebody called the bank. And the bank put it right on their call center. If you get any of these calls, they are not accurate. Please do not answer them. So you got to be careful there too. But you got to understand that sometimes these companies, they have huge departments watching for these incidents also. How about a sweepstakes or a lottery? Anybody ever gotten a random call or something that you've won? All you have to do, you won a cruise, right? That's the best. We probably won't hear about that one for a little bit, but you won a cruise. Actually, you won 4 cruises. To get the one for free, you got to sell the other 3. Well, no, that's a terrible idea. So now you want me to put out all this money. So it's really hard. Same thing with the lottery. The lottery's not going to send you something by email. And it's funny because I've talked to people at these events and they say, I got that lottery one and I really thought it was true. And I follow up with this question. When's the last time you played the lottery, sir? And I usually get a stare, and then it's been a while. So you think that 5 years ago you played a $1 ticket in the lottery, and now today they're contacting you because you won $150,000. Slow down, think about it. Everybody wants that quick, easy money. Scammers do. You and I do. It would be great, but it doesn't exist. So we're going to get into now to the grandparent scam. That was the one that we had talked about right there at the beginning, how it did happen down in Ilion. And thankfully, a banker caught it and knew what happened. So what the grandparent scam is, and it's run a couple of different ways. Either the person is in the hospital or in jail. It's usually jail is how they run it, but I've seen it other ways with the hospital. So someone will call you, and they'll say your grandchild is in jail, and a lot of times they'll know the name. So this is whether they know a little bit about you, or maybe you have the social media aspect that they've been able to gather some information that way. So their whole plan here is they're going to try and get you to send them money right now. Okay? No waiting, no delay. This person is in jail. They need bail money right now. So in the case in Ilion, what happened is the person got the phone call. So-and-so was in jail. They need bail money. I'm their friend, but you can't tell their parents. Like, we're calling you because we trust you. We know you won't do that to us. So they're doing a couple things. They're trying to make you make a split decision, and they're trying to build a little trust with you, and they're trying to pump you up a little bit. So they're saying, you're the person we're going to call. You are the person they trust. So you need to wire me money right now. Well, wiring you money right now, there's only one way to do that, and that's Western Union. And I don't know how those poor people stay in business. The only time I ever hear of Western Union's in a scam, or if you need to pay your power bill, you can go to the grocery store and send money Western Union right to the power company. Other than that, I don't know how they do anything and stay in business, because every time I hear something about Western Union, it's a scam. So they've called you, they've asked you for money, they need it for bail, and what are you going to do? And you're saying to yourself a couple of things here. You might be saying to me right now, Officer Morgan, there's no way I'd fall for this. I would know the voice of my, grandchild or somebody's best friend, or I couldn't fall for that. Well, I work in an industry where we train for things like that. And, an incident, let's just take happens if I'm working in the jail or if I'm working on the street, your mind can convince you of things that never happened. Okay. That's something we train for, and it's something we talk about a lot. No different than right here. They're putting you in a high intensity panic situation. And the whole point is to make your mind fooled. Okay. So I call now. We need bail. We're in Tennessee. Johnny's locked up, and we can't tell mom and dad. You got to help me right now. It happens. It happened to somebody over in New Hartford. One of the first times I heard about this scam, I went to a talk, and they asked me specifically to talk on this because one of their members had been scammed with it. So in Ilion, what had happened is they had gone down to the bank to get the money to wire it over. And the banker goes, why do you need to do this? Well, somebody's got arrested. Okay. Well, who called you? And they told him. And the banker finally goes, do you know that person? No, it's one of our grandson's friends. She goes, I don't feel good about sending this money, and hit stop on the transfer before it was able to be processed. They looked into it more, and they found out they were going to be scammed. So how do you handle this? How do you do it? What would you do? Well, if you're getting that phone call, I can tell you right now, as I've worked over 10 years within the jail structure here in Oneida County, if somebody's locked up or arrested, they can be bailed out at any time. It does not matter if it's 2 a.m., Christmas morning. You can get bailed out if somebody's going to send the money. Okay? If they really did get arrested, that extra 25 minutes, not going to be the worst. Okay? It's already bad enough. 25 minutes, not so bad. So what I want you to do is I want you to start asking questions. Okay? Get information. You're in what town again? What jail is he in? All right. So now you've gathered that information. You know the town, the jail. You obviously know the person's name that's been arrested. So now we need to look up the local police agency or the local jail, and we make a phone call. Just like you could send money Western Union, these jails will take a credit card over the phone. Yes, you're going to pay an extra fee, but you're going to pay an extra fee using your credit card at Western Union. You're going to pay an extra fee these days using your credit card at the grocery store. If you really want to get that person out of jail, pay the fee over the phone. You call the jail and you make a credit card payment over the phone. You don't send it to the friend, the person that you don't know. So that's the best way to handle that. But that really does happen. It happens a lot. And this was on, I printed this on 5/15, okay? Ilion police say a grandmother received an initial call saying that it was her grandson, but she didn't recognize the voice. The caller said he'd been in an accident, broken his nose, and his mouth was full of gauze. And she had been told that he had been arrested and needed $15,000 for bail. Police say the grandmother realized that this was a scam and hung up. The scammers also turned their effort to two other sets of grandparents who did not realize they were being scammed and tried to send their money. The grandparents took $15,000 out of the bank and went to wire the money. A suspicious employee asked the couple if they knew the person they were sending the money to. When they explained the situation, the employee stopped the transfer before any money was wired. This happens. It happens more than you think, okay? We just need to really be aware. Really be aware. Social Security phone calls, you're not going to get those either, just like you're not going to get calls from the IRS. So one of the things, too, to be aware of is it's called spoofing, okay? So all I do is I get on this phone and I look up an app that lets me create a fake phone number. And when that rings through on your phone, it might come up as doctor's office. So you see it, and it says doctor's office. You don't remember programming that in your phone, but you think, what the heck? I should probably answer this, right? Seems reasonable. And I'd say, hey, just calling from your doctor's office here. I want to verify some things for your upcoming appointment. Just taking a stab in the dark on that one. And you think, do I have an appointment upcoming? I don't remember. But you know what? With so much going on these days, it's easy to forget. So you just kind of roll with it, right? Because you don't want to seem silly that you don't know you have a doctor's appointment in a couple days. We've all done it. Sometimes you're just faking it till you make it, right? And you're hoping for the best. So yeah, I remember that's coming up. And they start asking some questions. All right, we just need to verify your information quick. And the next thing you know, you just gave out all your important information. They say, all right, ma'am, we'll see you next week. Well, guess what? You didn't have a doctor's appointment, and now they know all your personal information because you didn't take the time to say, what office are you from? What doctor are you with? I had an appointment for when? If you ask some of these follow-up questions, you'd be very surprised how quickly they'll hang up on you. And that's how you're really going to know. So we're in the COVID-19 era, right? This is just a strange time in the world for everybody. Shannon, am I doing okay on time?
Yes.
Okay, if for some reason I'm going too long, you just let me know, okay?
Okay, this is the last overview, right? The COVID was the last part.
Yep. And again, if there's something you need me to cut off, I can absolutely do it. So for COVID, there's all these big things. How about blood and saliva from COVID survivors? Has anybody heard about that yet? No, but what they're doing is they're trying to contact people and say, we have blood and saliva, which terrible idea to think that you're going to buy that over the internet or the phone. And they want you to take it, inject yourself with it, and you will get immunity to COVID. This is one that I can't believe anybody falls for. But not only are people falling for it, they're saying that the blood and saliva that you're getting most of the time when whoever's like interrupting these packages is filled with HIV and hepatitis.
Oh my.
So just be aware, okay? And again, that might seem really far-fetched, but I'm finding many instances where people are talking about it. Stimulus checks. I know probably most everyone got it. I thought everyone got it. My mom got hers last week. So they are still out there. Just remember, if you haven't received it yet, there's the one place to check for anything regarding a stimulus check. That's the IRS website. No one can make it come any faster. And if there's another round of stimulus, no person in the world can be paid $50 to make that check come faster. It's not like tax returns where somebody can make that happen a little quicker or estimate it. It just doesn't happen. Don't do it. How about a fake cure for coronavirus? Goes right along with that blood and saliva test. There isn't a cure. There's not a vaccine. Maybe the FDA will come out with a trial. If you want to trust the FDA for that, I can't go against you there. The FDA is a real agency, okay? Or whoever it is that makes the vaccines. I assume it's the FDA. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Tech support, which you're like, how does tech support have to do anything with COVID? Well, people are going to tell you that, you need to get on these official websites. And, well, I don't have access to that website. Why is that? Oh, we need some of your information to find out. and they're all of a sudden they now have your information. They're going to try anything that they can to get to you quick. The big one right now that we're seeing quite a bit on is the people that are getting text messages that say you've been around someone that tested COVID positive, and now you're in that, I guess bubble might be the best word, or that grouping, and you have to go get tested. And they're going to give you some fake test site to go to. Again, maybe to get you to pay $50 for a fake test, $100 for a fake test, or maybe just to get some of your information, right? I can gain a lot with your information, and it wouldn't be that difficult. One of the last things that we're going to talk about is donations. Again, we talked about it for the regular scams, but the donation scams for COVID, okay? People know that this is a hard time, and they're going to try to tug at your strings and get you convinced that you have to do these things, but you don't. And especially if they call and say you have to do this right away. You have to donate right now. Again, if there's somebody you want to donate to, go ahead and research that before you do anything. I would never tell you not to donate money to someone. But what I will tell you is to make sure you know who you're actually donating it to. If you feel that you've been a victim of a scam, what should you do? Well, number one is don't be embarrassed. Talk about it. Let somebody know that you trust. You are not alone. I'm going to say that again. You are not alone. I go to these events and I talk to these people. At every event I run into somebody's been scammed somehow on something. So what do? You got to tell people. You got to let people know. Doing nothing can only make it worse. Maybe you say you told me I'm your son-in-law, right? You told me that you think you got scammed. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you down to the bank and we're gonna get things checked out. But if you didn't say anything to me, why would I wouldn't know enough to try to help you, right? So if you think something didn't feel right or doesn't pass the smell test, if you will, tell somebody about it. I don't care who it is. Somebody you trust, and let them know. There are resources and phone numbers, your local police department, your bank, anything, okay? Scams are bad. People are going to be out there and they're always trying to get something over on somebody else because they want to make some quick money. And again, they wouldn't keep doing it if they weren't making money. So let's not put our heads in the sand here. They're making money. They're doing this and it's working. Let's not let it work on anybody in this room. And if we can all take a minute to try to talk to one other person about it, or maybe be that person that your friends know or family knows that they can come and talk to if they think something went wrong, we've done it. We've won, right? We're going to get that advantage because then we know how to help people. So that's really all I have on scams for today. Shannon, if you have any questions, anything else that you want me to cover or try to talk about, please let me know.
Yes, well, I would like to get some input from our audience, but I did have a private question regarding the Microsoft scam. Are you aware of anything?
I am not aware specifically of the Microsoft scam. Is there anything we could know more about, and I can maybe try to look into it and send you an email and get back to you on it?
Sure, that'd be great.
So I'll try to look into that and see if there's something I can come up with. I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody have any questions? I'm trying to unmute people, but some, I'm not able to unmute. Joanne, do you have any input to add?
I do. I just had an
Yes.
My daughter monitors my account. There is a credit card, and it keeps showing up several items that I used, and I'm not using that credit card. And I called the bank, and the bank didn't know anything about it. Then I called their home office, and they didn't know anything about it. And they said it's a scam, just trying to get information about my social security number and all. I went to the bank. I had them rip up my card and issue a new one. I trust no one. I really don't.
And you shouldn't. The bank, what they'll do, and I think I know what you're describing, is they'll deposit like a penny in, take 2 out, put 3 more in. And what they're trying to do is just find a way to gain access to your account.
My social security number and whatnot.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that does happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Those little cards in our pocket make life easy, but they also make it much more complicated.
They do. The bank is even surprised at what's happening.
Absolutely, because there's something new coming out every day, and that's the trouble. Is there's always something new. Somebody's trying to come up with something, just a new way to put something past everybody.
They're out to
it would-
get us.
Absolutely. If they could only use some of this information or knowledge that they have for good, boy, they'd probably make a lot more money in their life.
Right, right. Thank you for your help.
No problem. Happy you guys to have me.
Anyone else? Well, I thank you, Curtis, for your time, and I look forward to seeing if we can set something up for July.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, just send me an email, let me know, and I will try to look into that Microsoft scam here later today and see if I can't get something sent over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Curtis.
No problem. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now. Thank you.